This episode of Moist Meter was brought to you by Crunchyroll.
Initiating moisture.
Welcome to the Moist Meter. Today we're taking a look at Black Clover. It's actually been a little while since I've watched any anime, if you can even believe that, and I've had just kind of that empty feeling in my nutsack that only anime could fill, so I decided to check out Black Clover since it's been recommended to me quite a bit recently, which I find surprising because I remember when Black Clover first came out, everyone fucking hated it. I heard nothing but negative things about it. It was like Game of Thrones Season 8 for anime where everyone was shitting on it. So to see that it's turned around in such a big way, at least online, was surprising. So I definitely checked it out with an open mind and open legs, just spreading my cheeks ready to accept whatever I was about to watch. And I gotta say, it was good. I enjoyed it. Now, obviously, the worst part of Black Clover is its beginning. Like, the first 15 episodes are spent with the main character, Asta, just constantly screaming, and it definitely gets grating. And when I say screaming, I mean every time he opens his mouth, it's like you're listening to 2008 post-hardcore screamo music, like some fucking Silverstein shit or something. Every single time he speaks, it is yelling. It makes Dragon Ball Z look like child's play. The voice actor here has to have some superhuman vocal cords. He's like a fucking real-life X-Men with a mutation that gives him iron vocal cords to withstand all of this screaming. It is impressive, but also gets old kind of quick. Another thing I didn't really love right away was all the characters. I love the fact that they've introduced so many characters so quickly in the show. They give you like a very clear structure, like here's the upper echelon of powerful magic users, and here's all of these interesting characters that have these quirks. But one thing that I didn't like about it is how it falls into that anime cliche where if a character has a quirk or a little wacky thing about them, like, hey, I like birds, well, the only thing that fucking character ever does is talk about birds. They just become this embodiment of that one trait. For example, in this show, in the beginning, there's this character that really likes his sister. So anytime that character's on screen, he's talking about his sister, looking at a picture of his sister, jerking off to his sister, and just everything about him is sister-oriented. It just gets so tiresome. I really don't like that cliche. Demon Slayer did it too when they introduced all of those new characters towards the end where they all had something a little special about them, a little quirk. I don't like that. At least make the characters interesting from the get-go instead of just being like this fucking caricature for this one trait. I'm just not a huge fan of that. So there were definitely things in the beginning that I didn't like. A lot of people say how uninspired and lazy it is, how it just copies other things and borrows this and that from other things. And yeah, at no point does Black Clover ever really try and reinvent the condom. It just kind of very falls in line with generic shonen stuff. But it very unapologetically makes it the most shonen shit ever, just very geared towards action and really unrelenting cutthroat pace, which I think is fucking great. It takes all of these incredible things from the genre that you just like to see. Yeah, they're not the most creative or the most inspired, but having all of these elements from all of these other shows come in here, I think is really fun. It's constantly ramping up the stakes. It's constantly getting more powerful as, the power just continues to escalate. The tension continues to escalate. It's just a lot of really fun moments. There's just so many highs in this show that happen so often, it's hard not to enjoy watching it. Yeah, again, it is not the most creative of things ever made, but I don't think it needs to be either. It's not trying to make the wheel better or anything. It's just trying to take everything, put it in here into a nice, compact little fucking soup, and feed it to you. And it's a delicious little soup. I think it's a lot of good moments and a lot of really cool shit. And I really love the animation during its fights. I think it gets very creative in that regard. I like the way they portray a lot of the magic fights and a lot of the character interactions when it comes to like combat. So I don't really have like an issue with it not being a totally unique concept or unique in pretty much any area really, because it just takes all things that we enjoy and puts them into this one big pot here, this nice little cauldron of just shonen shit all packed in here. And it is enjoyable. And like I said, the beginning's not great. The beginning isn't the worst thing in the world, but it's not fucking great either. It is kind of a chore to get through like the first 15 episodes, but after that, it really finds its stride. It really hits its highs and it keeps going. It doesn't stop. Like I said, the pacing in here is great because it is constantly just full throttle, nuts to butts, just a ton of good action and shit. The characters also get better as well. The characters, you start to grow on you. You start to learn little nuances about the characters and, their relationships to one another. So the characters also get better. They don't stay just like this 2D cardboard cutout of, well, here's one wacky trait. This girl really likes to eat candy, and that's all she'll ever do is just eat candy. There's a lot more to it than that. So it does get better. But yeah, the beginning is rocky. And it's not like the best shonen ever made or anything, but it takes elements from the best shonen and puts it into its own format and its own little world that it's created. And I think it works really well. So I do think it's a show worth watching if you just want some, fun little action-oriented shit. It doesn't make you really think too hard. It's not going to have you sitting there in like profound thought with a, finger on your temple thinking, this is changing my worldview. This is very interesting. It's just going to be there like, holy shit, that dude's throwing some fireballs and hitting it like a baseball bat with a giant sword. It is just a really enjoyable show that does have some problems that I think a lot of people are going to roll their eyes at or, sigh when they hear it come up with just generic anime cliches and also some interesting decisions that I don't think play super well. I don't want to get into spoilers or anything. But anyway, plugging this into the moist meter, I'm giving Black Clover a clean 80%. I would recommend it just for something to watch if you're looking for some action and just some good animated fights and such. And some interesting characters that do get better if you just give them a chance to grow on you. So yeah. That's about it. Now it's time to talk about Crunchyroll. If you like anime, Crunchyroll is pretty much a must if you want the ease of being able to find high quality anime that's professionally subtitled. Its catalog is so huge. You can find pretty much anything you're looking for. It's where I watch almost all of my anime as well. They also have a new one called Tower of God, which is absolutely slapping right now. So Crunchyroll is just an incredible service when it comes to watching and enjoying anime. And with Crunchyroll Premium, you can get the newest episodes an hour after they're broadcast in Japan. You can get those bad boys right at home. You get it 1080p, ad-free, professional subtitles, of course. So if you're interested in trying Crunchyroll Premium, you can use crunchyroll.com/penguinz0 to get a 14-day free trial to give this bad boy a try, which I'd highly recommend. That's crunchyroll.com/penguinz0 to try a Crunchyroll Premium for 14 days, baby. See ya.